Arctic Wallow. You aren't getting up anytime soon, not after that. Perhaps it's best we move along. Be the blue guy. You start to be the blue guy. Stop being the blue guy. You stop being the blue guy just soon enough to become this purple girl. Bailing out isn't an option. You've already impeded on this troll's parade ground, and now you're stuck here more than you would be if you were placed in a 1,000-sweep chokehold. Just bring it, you chuckle fucker. Enter name. Enter name? That's one real fucking gag you've got going. You must have a very active imagination. Better knock that off before you're Nelson so fully you don't know if your body has contorted into salted twisty bread or if your limbs have always been this unattached. Your name is Taz. Just Taz. Of course, according to social convention, you have a longer and more appropriate name. You don't use it for the very justified reason of it fucking sucks! Nicknames are rather common on this planet, given that the accouchement golems root you into the denomination lodge to piece together a proper call before you even have fully developed motor skills. So of course, some of the designations are going to be unintelligible and meaningless. Your religious allegiances lie with that of the Mirth Maniacs, a specific breed of jester-esque personas that wishes to promote the ideology of righteous judgment against lethal fallacies of corruption running wild in the system. This is a fancy way of promoting the perverse nature of choreographed infighting grudge matches to decide who truly deserves a spot at the top of the ladder with the Rod Brothers. It also keeps the personal intents of grievous slaughtering away from the public. Everybody's got a price. You haven't made a persona of your own yet, and you don't intend to, as you feel it's a pretty idiotic move. You're not going to sacrifice your personality for a goofy chant and tight spandex, even if you admire those who do, but despite this you have a rather well-established role in the creed due to your intimidation chuckle voodoo that is almost always active. You also have an ever-increasing amount of rustic torture weaponry that you've won as trophies, and you spend a significant amount of time in attempting to figure out how they function in combat. You keep a rather unsteady relationship with the majority of the group you're stuck in, with the exception of the one and only person who can somehow magically pacify you and your seething disposition. Your troll tag is pernicious overkill, and you speak in a manner that is way too abrasive for its own good. What will you do? Taz, pet the rock. Can't you see he's sleeping? You can't just do something like that to the brains of your tag team duo. Even if you don't have a problem with disturbing anybody else, The Rock is special. He's been with you as long as you can remember, and you will always treat him with respect. Taz, admire poster of Hulk Hogan. The man himself. Starting from the bottom, Terrence Bollea was tossed into a recent grade torture fort key match after a disagreement with his hero, the champion of the Ruthless Expeditionary Knockout Tournament, over the worthwhile nature of his facial hair. After being forced to choose his weapon, it was several hours before he was able to murder his powerful assailant and take the key from his neck to leave. And all of this without using his follower Chuckle Voodoo. It was a display unseen before that point in time, and it has never been replicated by another persona since. After being baptized in the blood of his former high-brother, he gave himself the name of Hulk Hogan, and sought out to meet his makers personally through the creation of his own federation group known only as the ICP. This story is common knowledge. You know it, and everybody else knows it, because the Hulkster goes on about the Hulkmania he's created every night on his talk show. You can even hear it blaring from downstairs, since watching it is actually mandatory. This guy has single-handedly overtaken the faith on ego and blind devotion alone, even after his scandal of helping the zealots of the rival faith usher in a wave of demons from the horrorcore dimension. As much as you admire him and his tenacity, one day you might just have to kill him for all of this. Taz, examine weapon cabinet. This is where you keep all of your choices for taking down opponents. These tools of bodily destruction include, but is not limited to, 1 long ball mace, your favorite, 1 mouth gasher, 1 pair of skin-pierce handcuffs, 1 row of needle-point gags, 1 torture fork belt, sans the actual torture fork. 1 palm decimator, and the most potent, 1 ferocity weaver. All of this and more in one easy-to-reach compartment. You make it even easier by breaking the glass with your fist instead of opening the door. Taz, use Ferocity Weaver. You got a little out of hand with the Ferocity Weaver. Taz, check damage. It appears someone from the fodder is trying to message you. Weren't you set on incognizable? Oh well, it's not like this system has ever managed to function properly in the first place. You're supposed to not receive messages at all, but knowing who's talking, he probably found some manner of bypassing those settings if they didn't already fail. This guy is one of the better ones. You like him. Taz, answer troll.
Hey, what's poppin', clown bounce? Best get yourself tightened up and your jigglers packed the fuck in, cause shit boy do I got the light to ignite one hell of a fire inside your brain matter. Ready to start going off when you start getting down.
Do you really think that it is acceptable to just message me whenever you want? I think I very clearly had my program on the specific settings exactly so that you could not do that. And yet you still do. You're lucky I was actually here to even see this. I happened to be just about to get to something more important and wouldn't have been able to get back to you for a while. Then what would you have done with yourself?
Aight, so you done now.
What? No, I'm not done. Why don't you fucking wait when you can clearly see that I am not done? You interrupted me when I did not want to be and was clearly not expecting to be disturbed. So you're going to have to deal with the consequences.
Okay, so you're done now, and I'm just gonna keep talking because it's my turn.
God fucking... Alright, I guess.
So, I finally completed my life's work here. Sweeps and sweeps of decoding and uncrypticing and searching for funny-looking rocks gave me some goddamn reassurance this actually was a big league choice of action. Also, no offense to rocks, BTW. Tell the little man what it is from me.
Okay.
LMAO, LOL, ROFL. Nah, see, you still ain't getting the grand scope of all the pictures I'm tossing your direction. It's like I'm just slamming pics and rubbing them all over and smearing my god name so you can get the pics, but you is just standing there all cold-faced and big-breasted. Gotta let me work here, bitch Carney.
The picture that I would like to see is the one that shows me what the actual shit you're talking about.
Talking up the fact that I put the pieces of the rigorous underground hell machine together and I got clued into the matrix of eye-openers through. Well, let's just call my man here an informant. Knew him from way back when. Sourced me into my being, P-much. And now he sourced me one more time for good measure. But he said this was my last tip-off. Hint was that this place was rotten, and he said it in an oratorly tone of Sir's business, so he ain't playing any games. But we are...
We... Every single thing that you've been saying here just sounds like a bunch of pointless claptrap, which I don't want to hear, and don't really think that I care anyways. But I'll give you, one more go at properly explaining why you're trying so hard to sell me on this.
Got this all figured out. But I need you to pair up with high fructose for this, cause TBH, you is getting dragged in, whether you in or you out.
You better not be talking about who I think you're talking about.
Damn straight, I'm talking about the Archman. Please do me a solid rep and get over yourself so we can get these balls moving fast, cause soon we are on the clock.
No, never, not going to happen.
Taz set online status to cloying. The floodgates were pretty much open already. Being on incognizable is pretty much like being on cloying. You might as well invite the rest of the crowd to start going wild. Your Scorp theme is Hogan's Heroes. You really wish you could scrub off all the dirty watermarks and replace them with somebody who isn't a pious ego-glaring sellout. Speaking of, Taz, go downstairs. Taz, examine bar. On the bar, you see 2 unopened bottles of Pinfall Fuel and a nice-looking meat slab cooked just the way you like it, raw. You can't take a moment to settle down for a nice meal right now, though, as you have to lay the smackdown on a loudly blaring in-group heresy. There you are. Taz, berate Hulk Hogan. Look at you, you filthy, degenerate piece of mat scum. You've given yourself up, and the rest of the world onlooking is putting you down. Your locomotive trend of others treading by your heel is as unctuous as the al dente grain worms you put onto the masses. You will fall. And if you're not tossed by the harshly gripping and unceremonious hand of the 2 above, then you yourself will relay a clean finish to the slate of this world and the next. The go-away heat just keeps getting hotter for you. Taz, admire championship prizes. This belt was the first you ever took home around 2 sweeps ago, but you've won many more since then. You're a real fort pleaser. Most of your belts outside of those you've won for various key matches, grades, and scramble royales are for high performance. As the title holder, you were allowed to take your victim's practically unrecognizable remains back for display purposes. You have a friend who can do taxidermy reasonably well, but you're not really a big fan of asking for help, so you reconstructed and solidified his corpse with concrete. You like to think you did a pretty good job. Well, it appears that you have a problem now. Taz, investigate Scree. What? Oh, you motherfucker. Your custodian really has the whole scale of your relationship backwards. She believes that she's semi-aquatic queen of your hive, yourself, and more than likely the world. Everything is her property, including the match pick you've been keeping stowed away in the fort. You can't help but feel a little sorry that he wound up down there. He looks a lot better than what would have happened if you had actually got around to getting your hands on him. But it's for the best that his carcass didn't land into the black depths. The lineage of those who normally take care of the world's oceans were all cut down a long time ago, by a self-proclaimed tyrant who wanted to stand as the one and only of his stature. And now, all measures of the sea hierarchy only approximate about 0.1% of the entire world's population. That figure is already dwindling as it is due to the general environmental standards. The water's only been degrading since that time. The Renaissance! All of the pollution from normal garbage to hazardous items like toxic waste and chemical mixtures has been dumped into the ocean as if it's a general dross receptacle. You have to force your Lucis to stay away from its natural habitat, doing absolutely anything to keep its mind away from the call of the wild. As such, it becomes horribly stir-crazy. The wildlife has taken a great toll on the oceans as well. All of the prolonged exposure has turned what used to be mostly harmless sea creatures into cannibalistic carnivores that feast off of the flesh of their own kind, and mutate into unholy beasts with extra eyes and wriggling appendages. the likes of which can't even be found in the most exploitative of average dwellings. That stands for part of the reason people like you even exist. With the overpopulation of low-bloods running amok, somebody has to thin the numbers out, even if it isn't for a truly decent purpose. Reasons like those are why you can't bring yourself to care about this as much as you want to. Reasons like those are why you won't ever apologize for something worth doing.